to what DiJonai Carrington did to Sophie Cunningham, it was not a race-based decision. And to call that a white privilege-based foul is to completely undermine the term of white privilege and to also completely ignore the rules in basketball. You hit her in the head.
DiJonai Carrington left Sophie Cunningham bleeding on the floor with a flagrant 2 foul in the first quarter. Got ejected, walked to the locker room while Clark and Sophie waved goodbye, then went on social media and posted 2 words. White privilege, tagged the Indiana Fever, and the sports world spent the entire weekend trying to figure out what she actually meant because she gave absolutely no context, none. Just 2 words and a tag. By Sunday, Emmanuel Acho was calling it ignorant and asinine.
You didn't connect with the ball at all whatsoever. So to me, it was just very ignorant and to some degree asinine by DiJonai Carrington to suggest that that call was based on white privilege.
By Monday, Carrington was claiming the post was not even about her ejection, and somewhere in between all of that, she told reporters the foul might happen again. That is just how she plays. No apology, no accountability. Just a social media post that blew up in her face and a press conference that made everything worse. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications right now because what Carrington said on national television and in her Monday press conference is one of the most self-inflicted PR disasters this league has seen all season. Start with what Acho actually said, because this is not a drama channel calling Carrington out. This is a former NFL player with a mainstream platform who prefaced his entire take by praising Carrington's intellect. He gave her credit before he dropped the hammer.
There was no white privilege involved in that specific call. DiJonai, you hit her in the head and you drew blood. It was a flagrant 2. You should have been ejected.
Those facts are on video, reviewable by anyone. The officials watched that video and upgraded the call from a flagrant 1 to a flagrant 2. Not because of who Cunningham is, not because of the name on her jersey or her skin color, because the arm went to the head and neck with force and no attempt to play the ball. Acho said Carrington's post completely undermined the term she was using while simultaneously ignoring the rules of basketball, and he said it on a platform with millions of viewers. This was Carrington's moment to respond clearly and take control of the narrative. What she said instead became its own story. Carrington tweeted, "I've never once claimed that the assessment of the foul was white privilege. That was your assumption. Try exercising your critical thinking skills. I actually went to school, one of the top universities, might I add, to educate myself on this exact subject. I would never use that term as a rhetorical weapon, knowing the historical and social weight it holds without having the proper evidence to substantiate it." That is Carrington's response to Acho calling her post-ignorant and asinine. She went to a top university. She studied this subject. She would never use that term as a rhetorical weapon, and she has never once claimed the ejection was about white privilege. She posted white privilege and tagged the Indiana Fever immediately after getting ejected for a flagrant 2 on a white player. And her explanation for that post is that it was not about what everyone who read it concluded it was about. That is the definition of what Acho called it on national television, gaslighting.
All that DiJonai, you have told us is, hey, I wasn't talking about the foul. Well then, what were you talking about? I refuse to believe, on behalf of everybody that is confused, we're not all idiots and you are the one genius in the room. That's just not the case. So I say this with all respect. I respect your intelligence. I respect your response. And you currently on the court hooping, so respect to you. But there's still a lot of errors in your thought process and thought.
You posted 2 words with maximum inflammatory potential, gave 0 context, and then told everyone their interpretation was wrong. And the "I went to a top university" defense went viral for all the wrong reasons, becoming a meme within hours of her posting it.
Made a basketball play and the refs made a basketball ruling. So can we stick to basketball for a moment? Basketball play. She was attempting to go for the ball, at least she said so. She missed, and she missed egregiously. She missed and she flagrantly hit Sophie Cunningham in the head.
Now here is the part that makes all of this worse. Carrington's Monday press conference did not just fail to clean up the social media mess, it added to it. "It was unfortunate that I made contact with her in the way that I did, but it was never intentional," Carrington said. "And look, it might happen again. That's just how I play. I'm going to always go all out. I'm not going to just let an open layup happen. It might happen again." That is Carrington's message to Sophie Cunningham, to the Indiana Fever, and to the WNBA after a weekend where Indiana's own lieutenant governor called for Stephanie White's firing, partly because of the environment around this team's players getting targeted. Not an apology, not a promise to play differently, a promise to do it again. That is just how she plays. She is always going to go all out. She is never going to let an open layup happen. The officials can review it and upgrade it to a flagrant 2. She will be back. That statement landed next to everything else happening around this story. The Indiana Lieutenant Governor calling for White's firing. Acho calling the white privilege post ignorant on national television. The "I went to a top university" response going viral as a meme. Sophie's clear post game. There is no reason to play that card, sitting in direct contrast to Carrington's increasingly complicated explanation of what her two-word post actually meant. And then the detail that crystallizes everything. This was only Carrington's 5th game for the Chicago Sky this season. 5 games. She missed the first 27 with a foot injury. And in her 5th appearance, she left Sophie Cunningham bloodied, posted the most inflammatory 2 words available on social media, told the world the interpretation was wrong, went on national television and doubled down, and then promised it might happen again. This is also not Carrington's first involvement in a controversy targeting Indiana Fever players. In 2024, she eye-poked Caitlin Clark while playing for the Connecticut Sun. No foul was called. Clark said it was not intentional, and then Carrington appeared on social media and staged a dramatic recreation of the eye poke, turning a moment that injured Indiana's franchise player into content for her own platform. That is the player who joined the Chicago Sky this season. That is the player who swung her arm across Sophie's face and neck on a breakaway. That is the player who posted white privilege and then explained for 3 days why the post was not about what it appeared to be about. The pattern is documented, and Sophie addressed it in the clearest possible way at the post-game podium. She was not even on the team last year when all that was going on. She has no reason to be doing any of that. Good way to get her kicked out. Carrington also shifted to complaining about Sophie not receiving a technical foul for shoving her in the aftermath of the flagrant. She told reporters she would love consistency across the board, regardless of the name on your jersey or your skin color. A reasonable point in isolation, an extraordinary point to make from the position of someone who just had a flagrant 2 upgraded on review, posted white privilege on social media with no context, and then told the world their interpretation of that post was wrong. The consistency argument might have landed differently if it came with an apology for leaving a player bleeding on the floor. It did not come with that. Indiana, meanwhile, moved to 20-12, first in the Eastern Conference. Sophie finished the game she started bleeding. Clark had 26 points and 11 assists. Mitchell had 27. The Fever won 90-86. And the player who promised the foul might happen again will be watching Indiana climb the standings from a Chicago Sky team sitting 12-20 in 11th place. The scoreboard keeps being the most consistent thing in this entire story. Indiana keeps winning, and the people targeting their players keep making it about everything except basketball. What do you think? Did DiJonai Carrington make things worse with her response? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications because Carrington already said she is looking forward to the rematch, and this story is far from finished. We will see you in the next one.